Welcome to Home Group. My name is Rick Renner, and guess what? This is the first home group in English that we have filmed in the new studio. Hooray!
Hip, hip, hooray!
Hooray!
Maxim,
Gip, gip, hurrah. Oh,
What?
somebody
Yip, yip,
had to do it
hurrah.
Russian style. But I'm here with Denise and Joel and Maxim. Guys, welcome to Home Group.
We're
Thank
happy to
Thanks,
be here.
Rick. We're excited to be here today.
Denise, how do you feel about doing Home Group in this new studio?
Isn't it beautiful?
Our partners helped us do this.
Thank
Actually,
you,
they did it.
partners. Thank
They
you,
paid for it.
partners. Thank you so much.
Joel?
I'm so happy to be here too. And as always, please share this with your friends. Please like and subscribe. I have to ask you to do that. And today, I know we're talking about the world before the flood.
We are, but we have to say hello to Maxime.
I'm happy to be here. Hello, friends.
Well, we are really glad to be with you. And not only are we excited that we're in the new studio, by the way, do you like it? Would you just chat and tell us what you think about the new studio? I just love it. And we're able to change the background from program to program. It is so wonderful. And just behind the camera is where I film my daily TV program. So we're all in one great big room together. And it's so good that we finally have a wonderful studio. And Denise has her own TV set, which is just beyond this wall in another room. And it is magnificent, isn't it,
It's
Denise?
so pretty.
And you know, it seems like we just moved into this building. We have already almost outgrown this building. Every single office is full. And the old studio has been converted into the new TV set for our Russian TV channel network. And they're searching for space over there.
Oh,
I mean, God's
it is-
hand is really on the ministry.
It is buzzing over there. The channel, though it was where we used to film Home Group and the Rick Renner program, there are so many people on that floor working on the channel. It is amazing. I really believe the hand of God is on what we're doing. And I know you do too. Thank you for being with us. You know, I was looking at these chairs, and we had those red and black and white squared chairs,
For more
couches
than 10 years.
for a while. And I'm just grateful for these new chairs.
And, you know, now that we're not sitting in those chairs, I'll tell you, they were very uncomfortable. We're glad to have new chairs. But hey, this week and today and this week and in the next weeks to come, we're going to be talking about my new book. And my new book is available right now to purchase. Now, it's not physically available yet, but if you go to our website, you can find out how to get it. Just go to renner.org. And the name of the book is, here it is, Fallen Angels, Giants, Monsters, and the World Before the Flood. I have wanted to write this book for years and years and years. And when I taught my TV series by the same title, I kept saying that I wish I'd written a book on this. Well, guess what? I did it. I wrote this book in 15 days. Now, that is amazing. Now, that does not include all the people who added and contributed and all the people who researched and edited, but the book is not released yet. But you can pre-buy it right now if you'll just go to our website. And guess what, guys? This book has literally more than 300 pieces of art, graphics, and illustrations.
Wow.
Amazing.
And it is amazing. Now, you'll never be able to go to the lower mountains of Ararat, probably because it's too far from where you live. So in this book, I take you to the lower mountains of Ararat and I show you the ruins of Noah's Ark. And not only that, we talk about the fallen angels, the giants, the monsters that were in the world before the flood, and it's all documented. And honestly, you know, I've written a lot of books. I'm just about more excited about this book than any book I've ever written.
Wow.
Because it was so much fun to write, and it really opens up mysteries of the Bible. And the endorsements for this book are amazing. Amazing. Perry Stone wrote the foreword, and Perry Stone says that I have opened mysteries that people have wanted to be opened for a long time and researched it, and you can count on it to be reliable. Anyway, we want you to get this book by going online, and if you just go to renner.org, you can find out how you can pre-order your copy. Joel?
Well, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
What did you learn while you were writing this book?
Joel, I learned so much. One thing that amazed me while I was writing this book was how much commentary had been written about the Nephilim and the giants and the monsters and the flood by ancient writers. I was stunned how much information is out there in the ancient annals of history about the flood. I mean, of course, people in ancient times lived closer to the event. And so they had even more information than we have. And they wrote in vivid detail about the flood, and all of what they wrote is in this book.
Wow.
It's an amazing resource. Denise?
Well, you know why I get excited about that book, Rick?
No, I don't.
I do, because it's helping us think more and more about Jesus coming.
That's right.
That's right.
Because as these things unfold, like Rick has done so magnificently in this book, you're going to see that we're getting closer and closer and closer to the coming of our Lord. And that's what gets me excited about this book.
Now, before we get into the scriptures today, you know, I went to the lower mountains of Ararat. The ark is not on the peak of Mount Ararat. People have been looking for the ark in the wrong place.
Well, first of all, I didn't even know there were lower mountains of Ararat. I thought there was just one mountain.
Well, not only is there not just one mountain, there's greater Ararat, there's lesser Ararat.
Just knowing that was already a revelation
So
to Joel Renner.
there's two peaks of Ararat, and at the time of the flood, what today we call Mount Ararat didn't even exist. It didn't even exist. It's a stratovolcano, which means it has built up over years and years and years and years and years.
It's bubbled up.
It's bubbled up, and layers, and I mean thousands of feet of lava. And if the ark had landed on top of what today is called Mount Ararat, it would either be under lava or it would be blown to bits. But that's not where it is. And the Bible doesn't say that's where it is.
It doesn't.
In Genesis 8:4, it says the ark came to rest in the mountains of Ararat. And by the way, the word Ararat is kind of a new name. The old word was Urartu. And Urartu was one of the most ancient kingdoms in the world, one of the first kingdoms to really thrive after the time of the flood. That was the site of the Urartu kingdom. And the word Urartu, over years, came to be called Ararat. Actually came to be called Ararat in 1105 BC. But Maxim, you and Joel went with me to see the ark. Joel, what do you want to say about it?
Whenever I learned that the ship, which was the largest ship before the Titanic,
515 feet long.
was before the Titanic was built, this was the largest ship there was, and it's in the mountains of Ararat. It's on a mountain. Why would a ship be on top of a mountain? And when you look at it, it is totally the shape of an ancient ship. There is no doubt in my mind that that is what we were looking at. This is a ship in the mountains of Ararat. And it's just amazing. And it's in this mud flow.
It is.
It's in a mud flow, and everything around it, all this mud moves, but the ship does not move.
What's amazing is that mud has been there since the time of Noah, and it's still a mud flow. I mean, when you walk, I'm going to go back, I'm going to take Denise with me, and I said, be sure to wear shoes that you can destroy.
Absolutely.
Because you will ruin your shoes. It is a mud flow. You can imagine how much mud was left after the flood. Joel, what else?
They've been doing many ground scans. I think they're called CRT scans.
ERT.
ERT scans. And you can
ground
see,
penetrating radar.
and when you look at what they've scanned, you can see under the earth, there are 90-degree angles which don't exist in nature. There are no 90-degree angles in nature that are natural.
And Joel, I just got the newest analysis that you haven't seen yet, and it's in this book. And not only are there 90-degree angles, but those scans now show 3 distinct levels in the ship.
Wow.
And the central corridor, and guess what? It is still empty. It has never filled in over 4,000 years. It is a cavity that runs like a corridor right through the middle of the ship, and
Wow.
it is still empty.
Wow,
Is that amazing?
that's amazing.
And now they have taken all of the scans, and a professional is putting them all together, laying one on top of the other, scans from all these different various sources, ERT, ground penetrating radar that have been done over all of the years, and they all perfectly match. And they are able to replicate just from the scans the very shape of the ship.
I'm just stunned that only now,
Wow.
and this information has been available since the 60s.
Well, since 1960, I believe, is when Life magazine published the first photograph.
So this information has been available on Life magazine since 1960s it was published.
But everybody's been arguing that it was on the peak of Mount Ararat.
And to me, I'm just stunned that only now it's like this was hidden from society and it's being uncovered. And I don't know the timing of this. Why is it so relevant right now? But I'm sure there's a reason. And I was while you were speaking about the ark, I was thinking, if I was God, I would never want the ark to be destroyed. I would want it to be preserved as a sign of truth. You know, the Bible is the truth. And I think God would like that to be preserved.
Well, honestly, when you see the ark from the ground, it's kind of hard to know what you're looking at because it is so massive. 515 feet long. Well, that's almost the length of 2 football fields. Well, if you stand in the middle of a football field, it's so big, it's kind of hard to describe what you're standing on. It's the same with the ark. But when you look at it from the perspective of a drone, you know that you are standing on a ship. It is a ship. And my friends, it's now verified that it really is. Maxime, how did it impress you?
Well, what I took away from it was that the word Ararat and Urartu is the same word.
It is.
To make it simple for you, it's kind of like Yahweh and Jehovah is the same word, and people say, no, that's how they said it. And other people say, no, that's how they pronounced it. So the difference between Urartu and Ararat is we don't know how they pronounced it. Maybe they pronounced it Ararat. Maybe they said Urartu, but this is the same word. And what really impressed me when we were standing near the ark, and there was a big hole, and they explained to us that they did some drilling. They went inside of the formation.
The side of the ship.
Yes, and they got some material from there, and there was a fur of different
A
animals.
piece of a deer antler.
It's amazing.
And something human. I mean, none of that would be inside this huge formation. But honestly, when you look at it, it just looks like something massive encased in mud.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really what it is. It is the ark encased in mud, but you can see on the side of it what looks like the ribs of the ship that are protruding where it's begun to deteriorate. You can actually see it, but it's amazing. And hey,
Another amazing thing to me, I know this is all in your book, is the name of the it's in the Mountains of Ararat. So this particular part of the Mountains of Ararat has a name, and it's called the place of the landing.
the place, the mountain where the ark landed, Mount Judy. Now somebody says, no, it's supposed to land on Mount Ararat. Mount Judy is one of the mountains of Ararat. So it fits the biblical description. And the earliest ancient name of that particular site was the place of the landing. And there's one more thing very interesting. The ancient writers wrote that if you traveled the Silk Road, and if you just went down the hill from the Silk Road, you could visit the ruins of the ark. Well, guess where the Silk Road is? It's right on the top of that ridge above the ark.
Mm-hmm.
Today it is the border of Iran. But right along the top of that ridge is the ancient Silk Road. And the ancient travelers said as they traversed that road, they would depart, walk down the hill, and they would take from the side of the ark pieces of the pitch or the tar, and they would take it with them as souvenirs. Well, it's right there. It'd be very easy to go to. But there's more that we're going to tell you about in the next home group. But I want us to go to the Bible. You guys ready?
Got it.
Let's go to Matthew chapter 24 and verse 37. And this verse is really prominent in this new book about Noah, fallen angels, giants, monsters, the world before the flood. But Jesus said this, Matthew 24, verse 37, "For as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be." And when you read this in Greek, it uses the word husper. It means exactly as. Exactly as the days of Noah were, exactly shall it be in the days just before the coming of the Son of Man. So according to the words of Jesus, whatever was happening in the world prior to the flood is going to be exactly replicated in the world again just before the second coming of Christ. Now, people argue, well, do you believe in a pre-trib rapture? Do you believe in a mid-trib rapture? Do you believe in end of the tribulation, coming of the Lord? What do you believe in? Well, I believe in a pre-trib rapture. But my friends, whether it's pre-trib or whether it's the second coming at the end of 7 years, we're only talking about a difference of 7 years. I mean, people are like getting upset with each other over 7 years. It's only a difference of 7 years. The text talks about the whole period before that 7 years, the whole thing altogether. And Jesus says, in the days leading up to those events, the end of the age, Whatever was happening in the world before the flood is going to be replicated again at the end of the age before the coming of the Son of Man. So, the reason I wrote this book is because I wanted to know what was happening in the world in the days before the flood. Because Jesus said whatever was happening then, it's going to happen again. So I turned to the annals of history, studying the Bible, studying extra biblical sources which are not scriptural, but they were considered to be serious commentary, especially during the intertestamental period of the Old and the New Testament. Some of these sources were even quoted by James and Jude and Peter, and of course Jude was the half-brother of Jesus, so even Jesus' half-brother was quoting these ancient commentaries. And when you read what is in the Bible, and when you read what is in ancient rabbinic literature and ancient commentary, there is reams of information about what was taking place in the world in the days before the flood. And the Bible tells us that the sons of God, this is in Genesis chapter 6, verses 1, verse 2, and verse 4. The sons of God came into the earth and took women to be their wives. Well, the word wives is really wrong. They mated with women. So the question arises, who are the sons of God? Well, the sons of God, in the Septuagint version of the Old Testament, which is considered to be accurate, is translated the angels. The sons of God is literally translated the angels. And here we find there was a moment when angels rebelled against God and abandoned their posts. Peter refers to this explicitly. Jude really vividly describes that moment when there was a nefarious group of angels who chose to abandon their posts. That's literally the word which Jude uses. And they descended into the atmosphere of the earth and took women to mate. And when these angels began to mate with women, the women gave birth to children, but they were abnormal. It was a mixture of angel and human being together, and they are called Nephilim. And the Nephilim were the giants that filled the earth before the days of the flood. And the Bible says that through them, the earth was filled with violence. Well, what kind of violence filled the earth because of the Nephilim? I think we're going to talk about that in the next home group. That'll be very interesting. But angels really did abandon their posts, and they mated with women. And these women conceived, and they gave birth to giants. And guess what? This is where you get the source of mythology. In mythology, you have what's called demigods. A demigod was a hybrid creature that was half god, half human. And if you read ancient mythology, it tells all kinds of stories about how the gods came and took women and had sexual relations, and the women gave birth to children. For example, Hercules was a demigod. He was half human, half god or half angel. All of those myths can be rooted to Genesis chapter 6, where the Bible tells us that these events really took place. And I know that it raises a lot of theological questions, but I answer those questions in this book. But my friends, this is an event that really took place. Now, Jesus said that what took place before the flood's going to happen again, which would mean at the very end of the age, before the coming of Jesus, there's going to be some really bizarre supernatural activity taking place in the earth. We're going to talk more about that in upcoming home groups. Any comments, Maxim?
This is exciting. I can't wait to hear it.
I know, this is like a cliffhanger. I want to watch. I want to be on the next home group.
What about you, Denise?
Well, I'm just thinking that what Joel said, he said that if I was God, I would want to save this. I'd want this memory. And I thought about the power of the ark, because none of us would even be here on this earth
If it weren't for Noah.
if it hadn't been for Noah
Obedience.
and that ark. And none of the animals would be here. Nothing would be here. And for God to save something for a memory, he put that kind of thing in us, because we say pictures of our children when they were born, or our marriage, or things that are important to us. We hold on to memories. Well, that came out of God, and God kept that memory, and now he's unveiling it. And Rick, I want to thank you for all your research and time.
Well, you're very welcome. Our time is up. But I believe the revelation of the ark was saved for this time because it's the end of the age. And when you stand and look at the ark, it is a reminder that judgment occurred in the past, and there's a warning from God that it's going to happen again. But we're out of time. But we'll see you in the next home group.
Please like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends so more people can see it.